And welcome to the Regent Centre Christchurch for this one night only performance of 3 Years On. That all electronic devices are switched off, and may we remind you kindly that photography and recording of any kind is strictly prohibited. Wearing a face covering is welcomed but not essential, as long as you all feel content. To keep everybody safe and comfortable this evening, we will not be meeting any audience members outside of the stage door. We really hope you can understand. Although this idea has been in the works for a few years now, due to the pandemic, everything you see tonight has been put together in just a few days. So we really hope that you enjoy. We would like to send a special thank you to Charlie's family and close friends who have supported and cared for Charlie throughout his life, especially over the last few years. Tonight, we dedicate our performance to Charlie's donor, for without their brave and generous decision to become an organ donor, none of this would ever be possible. Now please. Now please, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we celebrate the wonderful and super talented Charles Michael Duke!
Charles Michael Duke.
My name's Charles Michael Duke.
I'm Charles Michael Duke, a vlogger and campaigner.
Well, 22-year-old Charles Duke from Lymington has been waiting 2 years for a double lung transplant.
My life has changed so much.
A young Dorset actor who suffered a collapsed lung during a performance 4 years ago is back out on the stage where it happened to pick up where he left off.
Here to share his inspirational story, please welcome Charles Michael Duke.
No more bottomless. No more that is bottomless. My name will be synonymous with being on the top. I can see it now. I'm the cat's meow. It's pow. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Everywhere I go, they will love me so. Hail my name. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Master Bond, you're such a wonderful rider. Oh, you really think so? And your talent is talent beyond compare. Oh, I thank you.
You're a star, well, you couldn't be brighter.
Now you're just embarrassed.
You're a real visionary.
Thank you, Jesus, and Hail Mary. This bomb's gonna be on top. This bomb's gonna be on top. Once you go to sizzle, then go to pop. Yeah, this bomb's gonna be on top. This is heaven sent. Feel it confident. Money well spent. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Throw a big parade. Praises will be made. Compliments paid. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Me and baby are so eternally grateful.
You know I'm doing it for.
Thank you for our cottage in the woods.
I'd have a big plane. Hey, nice telephone road. You're the greatest.
You're the best.
Vibrations say, yes, I am. This bomb's gonna be on top. This bomb's gonna be on top. Once you get going, you never gonna stop. Yeah, this bomb's gonna be on top. Lovely. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your evening and it was worth the money. Excellent. I'll see you later. Oh, I need some water. I'm knackered. I don't usually get up till 12, so 9 o'clock start was pretty early for me. I obviously haven't decided what I'm going to say, so I've got it all written on here. How are you all doing? Are you enjoying the evening so far? Probably should have put that one at the end then. It might be downhill from here. I'm sorry about that. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 3 years on. Shall I just go home now, guys? Welcome to 3 years on. Yes. This show has honestly, I've been planning it for probably about 4 or 5 years now, ever since my friend celebrated her anniversary, and she climbed, I'm going to say a mountain because a hill doesn't sound as impressive, but I think it was technically a hill. And of course, but it was something that she couldn't do before, and so I was always thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I decided, put on a show, because I've got a giant ego and I need it feeding, really. So, yeah, you're all laughing, but you know it's true. So I decided I would put on a little show, and it was originally going to be called Let's See What They Can Do, because the idea was to see what they can do. That's wonderful. And then I sort of changed the name because I ended up playing Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar for my first year transplant anniversary, which was when I wanted to do it. So I then thought 2 years on, sounded a lot classier, which I'm not, but I can pretend, put on a little suit, do the hair, you know how it is. And then that got postponed because of COVID, and we're here 3 dates later with 3 years on. So, where are we going to start, ladies and gentlemen? Well, a great place to start, I think, is probably at the beginning. Is that right? I think that's going to come up. Hopefully the projections will work. If they don't, then all those late nights weren't worth it. So, it was the 25th of May, 1995. I believe it was a Thursday. It was raining, and White Cliffs of Dover was #1 in the title. And that's what I learned from Google. I don't actually really remember it. And I was born at Poole Hospital, which is just down the road here. Well, it's a bit further, but just down the road in the grand scheme of things. And at birth, they pretty much straight away knew that something was wrong. Because there's something called a meconitis, which is a blockage in your digestive system that you're supposed to pass when you're born. And if you don't pass it, then there's a really, really good chance that something is not right. I don't want to say not wrong, because, I mean, look at me. But not quite right. So, well, I'm not quite right, but there we go. So they rushed me to Southampton General Hospital, because at the time Paul didn't have the facilities to sort of investigate and look at it. And at 2 days old, I was born with something called cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disease that affects the lungs and digestive system. And there's a lovely photo of me and my mum. Yes, it's a genetic disease that affects the lungs and digestive system. Essentially what it does is it causes thick, sticky mucus to build up inside your body. And whereas people who haven't got cystic fibrosis, the bacteria that you sort of pick up on every day would be caught in this mucus, and you would cough it up and spit it out or swallow it. But people with cystic fibrosis, it gets stuck, and it's a warm, moist place, and it harbours there, and so it grows. And due to sort of constant infection, I found myself needing a lot of sort of antibiotics and things like that. But that's all coming up later on. I don't want to ruin the ending for you all, everyone, but it's a happy one. So, let's have a look at my notes. So yes, diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when I was born, and my parents didn't really know anything about it. There was no history of it in either of their sort of, family trees. And so I think it was a big learning curve and a lot to sort of learn for them, but well, I think they've done a pretty good job, don't you? So that was that. And really for a lot of my childhood, cystic fibrosis never really stopped me from doing what I wanted to do, from participating or joining in, and I never really felt any left out. And that, I think, is a real big homage to both of them, my mum and my dad, for never making me feel any different, not making me feel like there was obstacles or I couldn't do certain things because of it. Other than going horse riding every Monday, which is good physiotherapy, and missing a couple of weeks of school every now and again for some treatment, it really wasn't that bad. I mean, I actually quite enjoyed it, to be honest. I mean, I remember at school we had snack time, And everybody, it was when the government decided that they were going to introduce this healthy eating plan, and everybody has to eat one piece of fruit a day, and that's going to stop the obesity crisis, apparently. But everybody had to have fruit, but I was very lucky. I got taken a chocolate biscuit. I know. And I've been out. Yeah, how's that apple, Grace? Yeah, I'm here with this crunchy bar. So it was great, really. That was that, really. For a lot of my childhood, I never really felt any different, and that was in place at school, but also it felt like that, you know, outside of school with hobbies, which is acting. I started at around about 5 years old. My mum started a youth theatre company called Carry On Productions, and we used to put on a musical in a week, and so that's what we did, and that's kind of where I fell in love with acting. I mean, I'm not going to stand up here and lie. I absolutely loved the attention, the adoration. I said I absolutely love the attention, the adoration. No, seriously, I shouldn't have. And yeah, no, but I think as my life's gone on and I've got sort of older and uglier and not wiser, but anyway, I sort of have learned very much, to me, that performing is about a lot more than the applause. No, it's about, you know, taking people away. I spent 3 years on the transplant list, 3 years where I couldn't perform, and the coming to the theatre every time I did it and being able to take away from your everyday life and all those problems, it really is such an incredible gift. And so I really hope, with no matter what anybody in this room today, tonight, tomorrow has going on, that for these 2 hours they can, well, delve into another depressing story. But don't worry, in the second half it gets a lot happier. Honestly, it's really great, actually, and we opened with this brilliant number. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I'm actually really good, so... So let's crack on. So, like I said, my parents, they never really made me feel any different. And when I was at school, that was kind of when I started to really learn about CF. I remember I was in an IT class once, and we had to put a presentation together, and I decided to put my presentation together on cystic fibrosis. And that was when I sort of started to learn about the life expectancy, which at the time was about 38. Which was a lot better than when I was born. That was late teens, and I'm 26 now, so I think I'm doing okay. But, you know, sort of learning about that stuff, you sort of started to learn really how serious CF can be, and I started to learn that one day a transplant might be possible, it might be something that I needed. And so, but like I say, that's again a testament to my parents, that they sort of let me learn about this stuff when I felt I was ready and when I wanted to start to learn about it. And I think, from my point of view, in the way that I've been brought up and the way that I am, that was the best way. Rather than being told, this is what it is, this is your life expectancy, this is what you can and can't do, I was kind of just left to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And really, to be completely honest with you guys, I feel like I could achieve anything, and it's entirely your faults, because you've all paid to be here. And so, when I can't get my head out the door, I'm not going to hear, okay? It's all right, there's a scene block over there, which is massive. So, what I then decided to do, I have my entire life been writing songs. My friend Joe, who's actually here, so you here, Joe? Oh, yeah, I know you're here, you were here earlier. We started to write songs together. One of our songs was called Never Do a Pee in a Pond, and it went, never do a pee in a pond, never do a pee in a pond, because the fish will cry and the frogs will die, never do a pee in a pond. That's a good one. Yeah, and then there was When the Shoe Stands Up, that's a classic, which went, when the shoe stands up, I can't believe my eyes. And then my sisters in the back would go, and a wimble, shake, 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 like that. And back of the car, we'd do it as we were driving. But then I decided I should probably write something a little bit more serious. And so that was kind of what I did, and kind of where this whole crazy journey started. I decided to sit down and write a song about cystic fibrosis. I mean, at the time, I was at 4 foot, I had long, stupid hair, and I really wasn't very attractive at all. I know what you're thinking, it's hard to believe, but it is true. And so writing songs about sort of like, you know, hookers and drugs wasn't really my scene, so I decided to write about other stuff that I really knew, which was cystic fibrosis. So, I know, a bit depressing really. So I sat down and I wrote this song and I filmed it in my bedroom and I put it online, and the idea really was just to tell my friends and family, this is what I've got, this is what I do, this is how I, the sort of symptoms and things like that. And Joe, recurring theme here guys, Joe sent me a message, he was like, I'm going to do an accent now. He doesn't sound anything like this, okay, but it's just so you know I'm playing a character. He's like, dude, that song is wicked. Yeah. I'm coming down and I'm filming a music video with you. And I was like, sweet. I was like, cool, let's do it. So that's what we did. And we posted it and it went viral. It got about 5,000 views in the first day. And I think it's at something like 50 or 60,000 views. And it's still today used by my CF team. I'm pretty sure they're like 90% of the views. And they show other people that come into the team, like new staff members and stuff. And they show them the video and use it to teach people about CF. And that's good, and there's lecturers that show students and things like that. So it's done amazing, and I'm really proud of the song. And so I thought I would play the song for you today. Now, if anybody knows me or has been anywhere near me, you will completely understand the first line, which is Wilma. Farts smell like rotten eggs, and I got osteoporosis in my legs. Now, little insider here, I don't actually have osteoporosis. I've got early onset of osteoporosis, but it was too many syllables and didn't fit in, so we just decided that we just would lie to the entire nation. That, it's all about the day. So let's crack on with the first song, shall we? And I'm going to start playing it far too fast, and I will be slowed down later on when the band come in. So enjoy. Here we go. Well, my farts smell like rotten eggs, and I got osteoporosis in my legs, and my cough sounds like I smoke 40 a day, and I always go back for fits at a buffet. Leave the loo for 30 minutes after I'm done. You'll be regretting that decision, cause my pancreas lacks the enzymes to function, so when I absorb fats there's a major malfunction. I've got cystic fibrosis. Every time I laugh, there's a high chance I'll pee, and I have very low vitamin A, D, C, I. I got cystic fibrosis. I have high levels of salt in my skin, and as days go by, well, my bones are getting thin. I have this thing called pancreatic insufficiency, which means I have a high chance of getting diabetes. And also I have finger clubbing, so they look like ETs. And in all my food I have to put extra calories. The average life expectancy of someone's is 40, and that can be increased with nutrients. And don't be naughty, cause a baby born today can live to be as old as 16. Prolong your life, don't do drugs like a hippie. There's a high chance of infertility in men and women, but that don't eliminate the chance of having children. It's amazing what science to do with the distribute a puppet. They stick it all together just like making a cookie. Cream your house to chew a food like Sicilian. Hypnoception and tobramycin, Ferris wheel, 8 vitamins, penicillin, hypertonic saline, donates, colomycin. See, I've got cystic fibrosis. Every time I laugh, there's a high chance of pee, and I have very low vitamin A and D, C. I've got cystic fibrosis. I have high levels of salt in my skin, and as days go by, well, my bones are getting thin. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
So, I released that song, I think in about September 2013. That's the music video. It's the full production number, and like I said, it did very well, and it really sort of kickstarted this sort of awareness campaign that I kind of had
that I've kept going and still am doing, was all about, you know, just educating people on CF and just sort of letting people know what it is. And because, you know, there's a lot of people actually that do suffer in it. I think it's around 12 to 13,000 now in the UK. And so it is still classed as a genetic disorder, but it is, you know, very serious. And I think, you know, it's very weird that I still now bump into people who I've known for years, and now, oh, so-and-so's got it. And I'm like, yeah, they just live down the road. But there, that's how it is. And so I sort of continued to do that. But it was at this year, in 2013, that my health really started to go downhill, and that I really sort of noticed that I was struggling to do things. I found myself going into hospital a bit more often and stuff like that. And so when you notice your health going downhill, the smart thing to do is to do 6 shows in 5 months, which is exactly what I did. So the shows were great. I loved all of them. I did Avenue Q, Joseph, Eurobeat, the Christmas Spectacular on this stage, the Treasure Island also on this stage, and then I directed a pantomime which toured some holiday parks as well, which was great. And, you know, like I said, I've always tried to make sure that the CF didn't stop me, and that it didn't, you know, stop me achieving what I wanted to achieve and do what I wanted to do. But there is, throughout my life, this massive level of, like, stubbornness to be like, nah, that was fine, yeah, I can do that. And then your lung collapses and you're in hospital on Christmas Eve. But I'm not going to ruin the story, that's later on, okay? What are you laughing for? It's very serious. So, so yeah, that's what I did, and I loved performing, and I remember I had to cha-cha and flip-flops and things like that, and it was great. And like I said, it was always about making sure that I was able to do what I wanted to do. And so I then finished school and things like that, and I decided, what am I going to do with my life now? And so I applied to be an entertainer at a company called Parkdean Holidays, and I went and I moved over to Hayden Island. And over there, I became an entertainer, and I worked there for 2 weeks, and then I had to go into hospital, sadly. And it was at this point when I think I sort of started to maybe understand or accept just how serious my health was starting to get for me. I remember I'd just started this job, and I'd been there for 2 weeks. And I ended up, I think, being off for 6 or 7 weeks, with full sick pay, might I add. Thank you, Parkdean Holiday, and for Charles. No, they were amazing people, and I'm still really good friends with the team there, and they were so supportive. But I remember I had the hospital appointment, and I mean, I'm not going to say I'm an emotionless person, but sometimes I just sort of like just carry on. But this was one of the few times in my life that I think I was in my car. I remember after they'd said, we think you need to come in for some IVs. Where I just burst into tears in the car park, because, you know, I was finally doing what I wanted to be doing, which was to be an entertainer at a holiday park, and I was loving it, and then all of a sudden that had to stop. And so I went in, like I said, Parkdean, they were absolutely brilliant with the support, and they said, look, you do what you need to do, and then you come back and we'll pick up where we left off. And so, I'm not getting quite hot, I'll take this off. You wait for later, guys, you wait for later. Because if me being me, I've given myself about 7 costumes, but not leaving the stage, that was a tricky one to figure out how I get into them. It'd be like the Bruce Mighty, I think. Yeah, I've forgotten where we were now. Yeah, Parkdean Holidays and doing it around the Went to hospital, yes. And then it was at that point where transplant was mentioned, and before the conversation, I knew it was quite serious. By this point, my parents had been divorced a few years, and this was one of the few times that they were in the room together, and it was impressive because my mum hadn't killed my dad yet, which was we were very happy for that. He's over there, he's loving it. Sing down, Dad, all your wives are in the room, all the exes. Fire escape's there if you need to run, alright? Right, yeah. So yeah, they were both in the room, and I remember, we're going to call him T-Dog. I'm going to change most of the names of staff just for, say, you know, because it's the right thing to do. And he was my consultant, and he was absolutely brilliant, and I remember he was the one that had the conversation. And when it was over, this was, said, we think this is something that you might need in the future, and so it's probably a good idea if we referred you now. And so I wasn't really ready for it. I don't think. I always stand by the fact that I knew it was something that could happen. But all of a sudden, I sort of found myself waiting for someone to kind of come save my life.
Where have all the good men gone? And where are all the gods? Where's the streetwise Hercules to fight the rising odds? Isn't there a white knight upon a fire steed? Late at night I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need. Well, I need a hero. Somewhere after midnight in my wildest fantasy, somewhere just beyond my reach, there's someone you can racing with the thunder and rising with the key. It's gonna take a Superman to sweep me off the beat. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero to the end of the night. He's gotta be strong, he's gotta be fast, and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero to the morning light. He's gotta be strong, he's gotta be soon, and he's gotta be larger than life. I need a hero. I can swear there is someone somewhere watching me. Through the wind and the chill and the rain, through the storm and the flood, I can feel his approach like a fire in my blood. Fire in my blood, like a fire in my blood, like a fire in my blood, like a fire in my blood. Holding out for a hero to the end of the night. He's gotta be strong, he's gotta be fast, and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero to the morning light. He's gotta be strong, and he's gotta be fast, and he's gotta be larger than life. Larger than life. Oh, no, that's not right. What to do? Making up as I go along. Excellent. Can you tell? Right. Hope you enjoyed that. I didn't want to put anything too depressing in, so I thought that would be enough sort of planned number just to sort of slot in there. And so, yeah, I found myself being referred for transplant
And so at this point, like I said, I didn't really think it was something that they needed. It wasn't necessarily something that I wanted. I thought, I've got a few years yet. And I had my first, I was referred my first set of tests around sort of November time 2014. And just after that, like I said, the stubbornness, another recurring theme that's coming back. I decided that I was going to do a tour of Aladdin, and then on the last day of that, I went into the dress rehearsal for the Christmas Spectacular, which happens on this wonderful stage. And I remember I was kind of just like powering through, as you do. And I was doing the show, I think it was the 23rd of December or the 24th, one of the two. And I got to the interval and I sort of came off and I felt a bit shaky. So I've got diabetes as well, which is very common for people with cystic fibrosis because we have to have such a high calorie diet. It's very common for us to develop diabetes. So I felt maybe like, a bit shaky, or maybe I just need to get some food. Just took myself up to the dressing room, had some food and a fizzy drink. And then I came down, and once again, this is one of the few times I remember I just sort of broke down, and it was on the stairs back there, and I was in tears, and I just said, look, I can't do this. So I went home, and the understudy went on, I know, a bit of cancer. And he went on, and I took myself home, and then the next day, I drove myself to hospital, and I said, look, just need some oral antibiotics to get me through the rest of these shows, and then I'll come in for 14 days after that, and we'll get myself sorted. They said, yeah, that's fine, we'll just send you for an x-ray. And so they did that, and the x-ray came back, and they said, yeah, your lungs collapsed. So at some point, I'd like to think it was during the show, because it sounds a lot more impressive. My lung collapsed, and so they took me into hospital. I think it was Christmas Eve that I actually went in. And I spent around, I think, 21 days in there. Chest drains in, then they took it out, and then it collapsed again, so they had to put it back in. And it was at that point that I was like, okay, maybe this is something that I'll need. So when I then went back for my second lot of tests, my mindset with towards the whole transplant thing had completely changed. And it was like, yeah, this is what I need, this is something that I need. And something that I want, I want to perform, and throughout my whole waiting, the only real motivation, without getting too depressing, was not the dying part, didn't really mind about that. It was genuinely to get back on stage and be able to perform for people. And so, when my lung collapsed on stage and my body was telling me, look, you can't do this anymore, that was really the big change for me. And so I went back for my second lot of tests, and they said, yeah, we think you need to go on the list. And one of the reasons being quality of life. I was spending a lot of time at the hospital at the time, but the other one being, they said, look, we sit here and we go, will this person be here in 3 years' time? And if they say no, then it's a yes to the transplant list. And so that was the other thing. So, in April 2015, I was essentially given 3 years to live, which is kind of a weird thing to be told when you're like 17, and you're like, oh, can't even drink yet. So, a lot of the drugs I was on was much better than drink anyway. So. But, yeah, so, it's difficult to accept and stuff, but I made the most of it, and that's when I sort of turned to TV and things. So I decided, look, I can't be on the stage, but what I can do is pre-recorded stuff, and if I'm feeling well enough, I'll do it. So I turned to YouTube and things like that. And I started making self-help videos. One of which being, the first one was how to be a parent of someone with CF, because I always got a lot of messages, my child has CF, what should I do, how can I do this? And so that was the first one, and it did very well. So I made some others, sort of like the top 5 ways to keep busy in hospital. My favourite one was how to be in a relationship with someone with a chronic illness. I wasn't in a relationship at the time, so I dressed up as a girl and played my girlfriend, which was interesting, and I very much enjoyed. Just try to find the picture for you because it's very funny. I think it's here. That works. Yeah, there I am. I know what you're thinking. he makes just as good-looking girl as he does a guy. And the best thing were my boobs, right? They were some potatoes gaffer taped to my chest. And there's one bit in the video where I open my legs and I've got massive white boxers on, which everyone was obsessed with apparently. There you go. So yeah, I turned to videos and I actually ended up writing a letter. And the letter was to the bosses of the NHS. So they had decided to recategorise cystic fibrosis. It used to be in its own medical category, which meant I think it got its own funding and its own sort of dedicated teams and things like that. And they wanted to just put it in the respiratory section, which everybody with CF knows that CF is not just a respiratory disease. It affects the digestive system. And the minute you start affecting the thing that gets nutrition for you and the things that gets oxygen for you, there's a lot of effects and a massive domino effect of all of that. And so I wrote this letter and I posted it online, and I got spotted by many things. A lot of amazing things came off the back of this letter. The first thing being I got signed with my very first agent, and I also got asked to go on to Loose Women, which was like huge. Like at the time it was getting way bigger audiences than things like This Morning, so it was the biggest show on ITV in daytime. And we went on and we launched Donate Mate, which was absolutely incredible. And we saw 1,700 people sign the register in the first hour, and there was a massive increase of people sort of visiting the website and things. And so, you know, I'm very proud of that day and proud of what we created, because, you know, I can sit there and I can guarantee that we saved lives because of what we did that day, and I'm very proud of it. And I think it's great. Thank you. Now, I'm going to apologise to the lighting guy at the back, because I don't know where I am anymore. So, but we're going to now move on to the second song that I wrote. It's not quite as good as the classic "Oh Camia," which was a fantastic. Oh, Camia, is Camia here? Woo, yeah, which was like, "Oh, Camia is an exotic name. You don't hear it much around these days, I hear they say," which is basically how it went. And we told her that she looked very good for her age. Because, again, me and Joe, these are the classics that we wrote. And we also wrote "Oh Andrew," which was, "Oh Andrew, you look like my shoe. Now that your beard's gone, you look like a woman. Oh Andrew, oh Andrew." I know, inspired lyrics. But no, I thought what I would do was I would write, again, a song to do with things that I knew. And that was, at the time, living in a hospital. I found myself, we adapted a 2 weeks at home, 2 weeks in hospital, 2 weeks at home, 2 weeks in hospital, with the hope that that would keep me well enough to have the transplant. See, when you get listed, what you need to do is you need to be ill enough to need a transplant, but well enough to have it. And so we adapted this regime, hoping that I wouldn't drop off the other end, and if things went well, I might move up the other way. But like I said, it wasn't so much about my health, it was as much about quality of life as it was about anything else. And so I found myself again making these videos, and I decided I'm going to write a song about living in a hospital, and I'm going to film it in hospital whilst I'm here. And that's exactly what we did. And I spoke to T-Dog, another recurring theme, people I know. It's almost as if I planned this. And he spoke to the communications team at the hospital, and they were like, "Yeah, that's cool. He can film this, film it here." And so we did. My friend Joe came down. We got some friends dressed up as some Benny Hill nurses, as you do, and we pranced about the hospital filming a music video for this. And so I thought it's only fitting that I play it for you now. So here we go. No, that's not the right chord. That's better. Hooked up to the oxygen, I'm not feeling high. Not showered in 7 days, and my head is full of knots. I can barely get out of bed to cleanse all of my spots. But the hot nurse is on tomorrow, and I'm gonna show them what I got, what I got, what I got, what I got. Oh, life in a hospital ain't as bad as it seems. Though my status can make it seem quite extreme.
I'm really just looking for some sympathy. Oh, life in a hospital ain't as bad as it seems. A hot food available 24 hours a day. Chili lasagna, steak and chips cooked your own way. And there's a nurse who will chat just a call button away. Oh, she'll talk about the girl if you're having a bad day. Life in a hospital ain't as bad as you think. Fridges in your rooms just filled with snacks and drinks. And there's a drawer full of sweets, so it's filled to the brim. Life in a hospital ain't as bad as you think. Porters take me everywhere and I always use the lifts. Making friends with nurses as they do the shifts. And I get to see my friends who bring me lots of gifts. Like dirty magazines just filled with pictures of life in a hospital ain't as bad as I say. You can travel around in a wheelchair all day. And there's a Burger King just 50 meters away. Oh, life in a hospital ain't as bad as I say. But it does have its dark moments, you can bet, oh yeah. At the end of the day, there's a reason you are there. Being included in everyone's not a prayer. I think we'd all agree we'd rather be elsewhere. Oh, life in a hospital is as comfortable as can be. Thanks to the amazing work from our healthcare team. They make us better when we're ill and when we're sick. And so it's thanks to them I'm able to sing. Life in a hospital ain't as bad as I said. There's a TV right above your head. And they bring you breakfast every day whilst you're lying in bed. Oh, life in a hospital ain't as bad as I said. Life in a hospital is no reason why. Even if it's impossible to get some alone time. Life in a hospital ain't as bad as I say. After all, the toilet is only 2 steps away. Life in a hospital is no reason to curse. It's full of women and they're all dressed as a nurse. Life in a hospital ain't as bad as it seems. No, no, no. Just make sure that you don't have anywhere. That's it. That was actually the only bit I was worried about because I haven't actually got that right in rehearsals once, despite it being the song that I wrote. But there you go. So yeah, that was what I did. We filmed the music video in the hospital, and my friends came dressed up as nurses. And again, it's this thing that I've been trying to do, where making sure no matter what obstacles in front of you, you're still trying to do what you want to do, and that is ultimately, like I say, entertaining. And so again, I then sort of was starting to think of what other ideas we could do and things like that. And I thought of loads, and there's loads of scripts still written of videos that I never made. But as well as that sort of stuff, I really started to get into sort of the
fundraising for charity. So I hosted a CF quiz that raised over £4,000, which was amazing, and an open mic night at Arcada just down the road, which raised just under £1,000. And through all of this, I got recognised by a local charity called Cadence Fight, who are brilliant, and they're set up by parents of someone with CF, and they raise money, and then it gets dished out to several different cystic fibrosis charities. And they asked me to be their ambassador, which was absolutely amazing. And it was at that point that I actually went to their sort of launch night of Cadence Fight, and I sang I've Got Cystic Fibrosis, which was the song I played for you first. And it was the first time that I was ever on stage, like, as Charles Michael Duke, like, singing my own song, and I thought that was really cool, and it made me really feel like I was, you know, starting to really make some amazing headway, and really sort of starting to make you know, people notice the awareness and things that I was trying to do. And so one of the other songs that I decided to do was I had a really cool idea, which was essentially to do a duet with myself. So I thought, what better song than Me and My Shadow? So at this point in the story, I decided this would be when I would record that pre-harmony line, and then I would, you know, when I eventually had my transplant, I would record the post-harmony line. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do for you now. Don't even know his words. Like the wall, paint the sticks to the wall.
And like the sea shark clings to the sea,
I can never get rid of your shadow.
you'll never get rid of me. Let all the others fight and fuss. Whatever happens, we've got us.
Closer than pages that stick in a book, closer than ripples that flow in a brook. Wherever you'll find him, you'll find me just closer than miser or bloodhounds to miser me.
Closer than Smog is to all of LA. Closer than Charlie to confessing he's gay. And not a soul can bust this team in two. We stick together like glue.
When it's sleeping time,
That's when we ride.
we start to sway.
You think you're so healthy.
Clocks don't chime.
What a surprise. How they ring. A ding ding. Happy New Year.
Not to repeat what I said at the start. Don't take a large crowbar to get us apart.
We're alone but far from blue.
Yeah.
Before we get finished, we'll make the town rock. We'll hit all the late spots and then a few more. We'll start out at string keys and maybe a show. Life is gonna be a wow wow wee for my shadow and me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was good.
That was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Just a little note.
Right.
Maybe that last note. Could you just hold the last note just a little bit longer?
I mean, I could try.
Just a little bit
but,
longer.
You know,
Yeah, if that's all right. Before we get finished, we'll make the town rock. We hit all the late spots and then a few more. Start out at string keys and maybe a show. It's gonna be a wow wow way for my shadow and me. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very thirsty up here. Ooh. never drunk so much water in my life. I actually, nice little fact for you here whilst I try and remember what I'm actually supposed to be saying. I've given up sugar this week, which I think was quite good. I genuinely am addicted to sugar. I drink Coke quite a lot, and it's very, very bad for me, and probably one of the many reasons why I have diabetes, but there you go. And this week I've done very well. I've only had 2 cans a day. Thank you. Yeah, I know. And I think that's why I'm so tired. Like, I think I'm getting, genuinely getting like withdrawal symptoms or something, which isn't a good thing. But anyway, so so that was one of the things that I did there. And then this is when I sort of, with all these sort of editing videos and cameras and all of that, I sort of started to get involved with marketing theatre. I worked for a lot of companies in the area. I really started to enjoy that. It was a way to stay involved with theatre and still keep, creating theatre and producing it and doing what I loved, but not actually being on the stage, so making sure I could do it in my own time and when I was well enough and things. And so I then decided that I would put my name forward to direct a pantomime. And they said, Charles, you do it with your dad, yeah, well, it would let you do it with your dad, and so that's exactly what happened. Me and my dad, who I've already pointed out, has already embarrassingly shouted out, I'm so sorry, everyone, I really am. Should just, invited him to the dress rehearsal, and No, but I did love this because you're doing very well. I'm actually proud of you, thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks, sweetie. And so, but I loved it. And like I mentioned earlier, my parents had divorced, and my dad had moved out. And what I really loved about not just being a part of the local theatre scene with him, but also directing, was that it meant I got to sing, I got to spend some more time with him, which was really nice and really soppy, and I'm sorry for that. A dad who's a million miles away, when he meets me, who knows what he'll see. But deep down I know I shouldn't be afraid, 'cause he's bound to be a lot like me. And we can afford costumes. Make angels in the snow, till the snow begins to blow. Then we'll run inside and start a tickle fight. And if it's too cold to sled, we'll eat gingerbread instead, and then cuddle till he tucks me in at night. And we'll have our pictures taken for the Christmas cards we're making, him and me in suits of matching plaid. And when people see us walking, they'll be Google-eyed and gawking at Charlie and the world's greatest dad. Oh, thank you, Matthew! We'll spend mornings holding hands and making plans on when to play jacks or kick the can. Then for lunch a ginger snap, then it'd have to fill the gap between building forts and playing Superman. Miss Becky's in the spasm, well, every good dad has them. I'll bring the cocoa and a heating pad. It's a scene inside a snow globe, it's a very apropos globe. It's Charlie and the world's greatest dad. Share a whole fruit cake slice by slice, making sure not a single crumb drops. And if I were to say I'm in a Christmas play, he wouldn't miss it for a million gumdrops. Well, if I fall and scrape my knee,
looks at me for me. I make the food better in a jiff. And if I should get a cold with allergies from home, so tie me with hairs on handkerchief. And if everything's too gloomful, I know that there's a room full of hugs and jokes that make it seem less bad. I can't hide my admiration, the perfect combination of Charlie and the world's greatest dad. So I'm gonna try my best to be everything you'd expect of me, and I promise that I won't stop until I'm done. So someday you can say I'm the world's greatest son. Yeah, seemed like a great idea. Yeah, seemed like a great idea, John. Getting an elf costume, yeah, good idea, mate, yeah. Whew. So there you go, that's it. I've got to stay in this for the rest of the show. No, I'm only joking. Who was it that whistled earlier? Eh? Oh, you've gone quiet now, you good? Yeah. Well, you are in for a treat. Oh. No, but seriously, I actually don't know how else I'm going to get changed. So I'll just carry on talking, and I hope that you enjoy it. But actually, I told Mum I was doing this, and she said to me, "Charles, just make sure you're not wearing crappy underwear, all right?" I know. Don't worry, I'll save these for a bit. I got to remember where I am in the script. Who am I kidding? There isn't a script. So, yes, I started doing that, and that was great. I'm just going to cool down for a minute. I hope that's all right with you all. And I started to direct and be involved with local theatre, but as well as that, I did some really cool things, like I did a video called What is CF with the Cystic Fibrosis Trust. So, the CF Trust are an amazing charity. They're the UK's largest for raising funds for both research and support to people who suffer with cystic fibrosis. And they sent me a little email, and they were like, "Hey, we'd really love someone to come and present this video," which was essentially a video with loads of graphics going on in the background that would sort of help people understand what CF was and all of that. And that's, I'm still really proud of that video. Yeah, up on the screen for you. And so it's on the homepage of the Cystic Fibrosis website and all of that, and it's a great informative video. I was really proud of that, and I found that, you know, I was sort of being asked to do quite a lot of media stuff, really. I'm going to put something on now, because I'm just aware that I am still... None of you are topless. What is this about? This is not a fair deal. And so, yes, I was sort of being asked to do quite a bit of media stuff, whether it was newspapers or TV and things like that, and it was really good. So, but at this point, I am still on the transplant list. So I've got all of this going on while still doing 2 weeks in a hospital, 2 weeks at home, 2 weeks in hospital, 2 weeks at home. And it was a few months after I'd been listed that I had my first call. So I brought a second phone. I brought a different phone. It was one of them brick Nokias that last forever, a battery, and it just meant that, you know, I wasn't dictating my life around how much battery I had. I am actually going to change my trousers, to apologise. So, you guys thought I was joking, like, genuinely. I know, I've still got these really fetching tights on underneath. Oh, and I've got cramp in my toe. Oh, I'm too old for this. Oh, there we go, right. So, yes, there was a lot, it was a good idea in my head, it really was, I promise. Yeah, where was I? I don't even remember. Oh yes, being on the list, first call, and the false alarm. So I brought a second phone, a Nokia, a brick Nokia that had a really long battery life, so that every time my phone rang, I wasn't like, oh, who's this? Could be that. So every time this phone rang, it was either O2 trying to sell me something, or it was the hospital. And I remember the first one went off, and we made it, I think, as far as the M27 before they rang back to say, we're really sorry, but it's not going ahead this time. And it's more often than not that you will get a false alarm.
there is such a tight frame between when the organs become available. You see, when you're waiting for a lung transplant, unfortunately the donor does need to be deceased. With kidneys and liver, they could be live donors, but with lungs, you are waiting for someone to pass away. And there's lots of things that have got to match, like blood type and antibodies and size, and the really important one is making sure that the lungs are healthy enough to be transplanted, but that they're also not starved of oxygen for too long. So they'll ring you as soon as this donor becomes available, but there's still so many things that need sorting out, which is why it's more often than not that it will be a false alarm. And this first one we made it as far as the M27, and you know, I think a lot of people sort of ask, you know, how are you feeling about it? This, to be honest, I was kind of just really kind of glad, like the plan that we put in place, who was coming to here to get to there, because my transplant hospital was up in London, in Harefield, which is west. And so we needed to have a plan in place on how I would get to the hospital, and I was glad that worked, and that was really good. And so we got as far as the M27, and then the call came to say that it wasn't going ahead, and like I say, that was difficult, but there was some positive to take from it. But it was my second one. My second false alarm that I think was the harder one. We went up, we got to the hospital, we'd done tests, I'd signed papers, and I think it was about 6 or 7 hours after that call to say we've got some lungs with your name on them, that they said, look, we're really sorry, but it's not going ahead. And the most bizarre thing is just like getting back in your car and just driving home and stopping at Fleet Services for breakfast at 6 in the morning. But that was what we did, and that's kind of the life that we were living. You know, you're always just sort of waiting for that phone to ring. But you know, as well as all of this going on and trying to keep myself healthy, you know, I was still sort of trying to keep involved with theatre and performing and all of that. And we then reached December 2017, I think it was. And I've been doing 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out, and I was same, you know, just the straight line all the way, keeping myself healthy enough, but still ill enough to need the transplant. And in that December, I actually got the flu. I was actually here working on, again, the Christmas Spectacular, and I picked flu up from somewhere. And when I say flu, I mean the genuine flu, not like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't come to work today, I've got the flu, but I'll be in tomorrow. I mean the flu, like I was in bed, bedbound, I couldn't get out, couldn't wash myself. And that was really difficult to take because I'd waited for so long and tried so hard and worked so hard to keep myself well, that all of a sudden, you know, there's this thing that it's going to stop you, that, you know, you kind of had no control over. You know, just pick the flu up from anywhere, and all of a sudden I've been knocked for 6. And it was actually during this time that I received my third call. And I always tell people, and I will always tell people, that I only ever had 3 calls, and it was the third one that went ahead. But the truth is, I actually had 4 calls, but I don't count the third. Because of the flu and stuff, I was really struggling to sleep. So first they tried to prescribe me alcohol, which I thought was really weird, but that is apparently something they do to try and help you sleep. You see, most sleeping pills, I think, mess with like your carbon dioxide levels, and that's really dangerous for people like myself. So they tried that first, but it didn't really work. So they then moved me on to another sleeping pill. And because of this sleeping pill, I slept through my phone ringing. So what they then do is they ring the next number, which was my mum, and I think it was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's one of those times where, like, I don't think I could ever put myself in that position where that phone rings and they're going, hi, it's, you know, Harefield, can't get hold of Charlie, and she knows exactly what it is, and she's going, I'm really sorry, but he's in hospital with the flu. And they go, okay, well, we'll have to ring the hospital to see how he's feeling and things in terms of being able to go through the operation. And like I said, I really don't know what you do with that. I know Mum got up, she had a shower, and it was just her at home. And it must be very, very difficult, I think, to know that this thing could go ahead, for your child, and you're kind of just waiting to hear back. And I don't think I ever really said thank you to her for that, so I'm very grateful for that. And so at 3 years of waiting, it's very difficult to sort of get your head around that sort of stuff. I only want to see if there is a way. Take this cup away from me. I don't want to taste its poison. Feel it burn me. I'm not sure it's a lonely start. When I was inspired, now I'm sad. Surely I've exceeded expectations. I've tried for 3 years, and it seems like as from any other.
'Twas the week before Christmas, and it was early eve. Children played outside, starting to believe. But far away, in a land of snow, sat a man dressed all in red, reading through his special book, worried thoughts flying through his head. For how could Santa expect just 2 elves to collect every last letter? There's too many kids and not enough time. We need to think of something better. Hard he thought all day and night. He's worried, we must admit. How to solve the problem, he thought. But then...
I've got it!
So now they're ready to see you all, better than ever before. So close your eyes and count to 10 and listen for a knock on your door.
us high. Raise the candle, spit in your eyes. Times are changing now, the poor get fat, but the freedom's gonna catch her when the bitch gets back. Meet on a Friday, that's alright. I even like steak on a Sunday night. I can reach the bells to just social girls. I get high in the evenings, then hot top girls. I'm a bitch, well the bitch is bad. Stone cold sober as a matter of fact. I can bitch, I'm better than you. The way that I do, the things that I do, oh. Hey kids, shake it loose together. Starlight eating something and it's gonna change the weather. Kill the fattest calves and I so stick around. I hear electric music, sudden walls of sound. Say Kenny and Riley, hell to see in the air. Oh, so stressed out. But the Betty and the Jets. Well, she's a weird and a wonderful. Oh, Kenny, she's a really king. She's got electric boots, more hair suit, you know, read it in a magazine. No, but Betty and the Jets. I'll be here to see them again. Over so spaced out, but the Betty and the Jets. Well, she's a really and a wonderful. Okay, she's a really king. She's got electric boots, more hair suit, you know, read it in a magazine. No, but Betty, I remember when a rock was young. Me and Susie had so much fun, holding hands and skimming stones. Had an old gold Chevy and a place of my own. The biggest thing I ever got, a thing called a country ride. While the other kids were rocking down the fire, we were hopping about to the crocodile rock. And it's so shot, just can't keep still. Never knew me a better time, and I guess I'll never will. Mama was Friday night, Susie wore her dresses, cried rocking was side of side. La, 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 la. these feelings high. Now one of those who can easily hide. Don't have much money, but oh, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, then again, no, mine makes pictures travel and show. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. You can tell everybody this is a song. It may be quite simple now that it's done. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I'll put down in words how wonderful life is. You're in the world. Hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings around again to find not the manly thing I am at home. No, 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 I'm a rockin' man, but I refuse out anymore. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings around again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. No, 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 I'm a rockin' man, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. It's gonna be a now it's getting late. Haven't seen my birds. I'll tell me when the boys get here. 7 o'clock, they don't wanna rock. Only get a fella full of beer. Well, my old man's drunk, but they don't know for the monkeys. Only she don't care. My sister looks killed, and I wear some bugs. I have the grease in her hair. Now, don't give us none of your everyday shot without it with your discipline. Saturday night's alright for fighting, and a little action. Yeah, the bottle's oil, that's a diesel train. I'll stay up this dance tonight. Saturday night's alright for fighting. Saturday night's alright, alright. Blood like a winter freezes just like ice, and there's a cold lonely light that shines from you, and I wind up like a wake you high behind that best. Did you think this hope never win? Well, look at me, I'm coming back again. It's a taste of love and a simple way. You need to know while I'm still standing, you just fade away. Don't you know that I'm still standing? picking up the pieces of my life. Without you on my mind, I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back my incredible band. On lead guitar, Mr. Tim Wedlake. Next up, the man that's making you feel it right here, Mr. Stephen Street on bass. He's no stranger to wood. It's the man with the sticks, Mr. David Waller. And finally, my musical director, the man with the ivories, the dude with the hair, Mr. Stuart Darling! Now there's only one more chorus, so I want to see you all on your feet! I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor, hey! Feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing after all this time. Picking up the pieces of my life. Without you on my mind, I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 I'm still standing. Oh, you are still here. I couldn't see these things. I'm not going to lie to you. Again, it seemed like a great idea. I actually got some feedback in the interval. Apparently my pants were not up to standard. Thanks, Mum. So I have dressed my next costume underneath, which I'm grateful for because I am sweating up here. We've also switched to the hand mic, so I apologise if this turns into stand-up comedy. So yeah. Oh, goodness. How amazing is this costume, by the way? Made by a lovely woman called Amy Knight. If anyone ever needs a album tribute, then she's the lady to go for. I'm going to slowly derobe as we go on. So, the interval. Actually, I'm going to take this off first. Apologies for ruining the magic. Oh. Yeah, so where were we before the interval? Yeah, maybe I wish I was taking my clothes off now, it's a much prettier sight. Oh, sorry, sir, would you like a microphone? Yeah, so the interval broke where I was still waiting for my transplant, and I do apologise, it's very offensive, but thank you. Actually, you know what? Let's stick this here. Yeah, okay. What's this? Oh, we're chipping in, are we? Right, yes, so. Freddie! Would you like to know a fun fact? That was my uncle, who is the brother of my dad. Are you surprised? He's also called Uncle Richard, so for short. Living up to the name, sir. Thank you so much for coming and spending your money on my show. So yes, the interval came. I was still waiting, and at this point, I just got the flu, and the flu. It took me about 3 or 4 months to get over, and I was put in a wheelchair and on oxygen because this is the effect that it had on me, really. So if I ever wanted to leave the house, I had to make sure I charged up my liquid oxygen tanks, and I would be in a wheelchair. I wouldn't be able to walk around and stuff, which was great because I got the disabled badge. I mean, I could park closer to the shops. That's always a positive, and I do miss it actually. I had to park instead of here. I had to just park literally just over there actually.
So that's annoying. But anyway, and so, you know, hopefully the message from the song sort of came across. It was a difficult time at that point because I'd worked so hard for almost 3 years to stay well and stay healthy, and then all of a sudden it was the flu that decided to get me. And it really did plummet me down. And like I said, that third call came, and they said, you know, I'm really sorry, but Charlie's too ill to go ahead with this. So I woke up and I saw this call on my transplant phone, and so I instantly knew who it was, and I messaged my mum and she told me everything, and then we just sort of carried on. But then, a few minutes later, not minutes actually, it was months, my phone rang again, and I was in hospital at this point. So I'm in hospital. I'd just come in the night before. So when you get admitted to another hospital, you have to let your transplant team know you've been admitted to another hospital. And then they ring the hospital to get a good overview of your situation in terms of you know, your health and things. But I'd only been admitted the night before, so I hadn't actually had a chance to tell the transplant team that I was in hospital. So they rang, and I picked it up, knew exactly who it was. Hello, there's that Charles. I'm saying, yes, it's me. Yes, hello. We've got some organs with your name on it. Where are you? Oh, I'm at Southampton General. Okay, we'll ring you back. And I'm thinking, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, you literally been waiting 3 years for this, and they're like, oh, I'll ring you back. So they rang the hospital, and it was probably only about 10 or 15 minutes, really. But it honestly felt like the longest sort of 10, 15 minutes of my life. And then at this point, T-Dog comes in. He's got a little bit of a smile on his face, and I've got a bit of a smile on my face, because we both know what's going on, but we haven't said it yet, you know what I mean? We're feeling this connection. No, so he was like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right, you all right? He's like, yeah? He's like, you ready? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And that was it. So I got blue lighted, the only time I've ever been in an ambulance on blue lights, from Southampton to London. And really, there's not much else to that story other than sitting around for 8 hours to find out that it's actually going to go ahead. And people sort of say, like, how did you feel, and like, what sort of emotions and stuff? And the honest truth is, like, I was remarkably calm. I remember my family were almost getting annoyed at me that I was sat there scrolling through social media. But the thing is, because I'd had 2 false alarms before, I was totally sort of prepared for this one to not go ahead as well. And so I think even until I sort of, woke up, goodness, it wasn't until I woke up that I was really like, oh, okay, all right, it's going ahead then, it's gone ahead. Because I'd even heard stories of people actually going down for the operation and then waking up with their life and being like, sorry, there was an abnormality or something didn't quite work. And so it wasn't until I woke up that I was kind of like, okay, it's happened. And to be honest with you, this is a picture of me waking up. This is about 2 days after the op, so I don't remember anything in ICU. I was in there for less than 24 hours, and then I got moved to the ward when this photo was taken. I got 4 chest drains in, and an epidural, and cannulas galore, and all sorts of scanning stuff. And it's quite full on as soon as you're done. So day 1, they want you sitting on the end of the bed. Day 2, they want you standing up. Day 3, they want you on a bike. Day 4, they want you walking, and all this sort of stuff. And so people often say, oh, what about that first breath? How's that first breath? And to be honest with you, I was like so high on stuff, I don't really remember it. But I do remember when I started to do stuff, how much of a difference I felt in terms of recovering from that exercise or whatever. And all of a sudden, it was my body, my legs, or my muscles that gave in before my lungs, whereas before it was the other way around. And the other thing that I found was that I kind of had to teach myself to breathe again, because breathing's such a subliminal thing. Your mind stops you at your maximum automatically. You don't even think about it. And so when you've got a new maximum, your body is still stopping you at your old maximum, and so you've kind of got to teach yourself that there's a new maximum. I'm going to try and get my shirt on whilst I stand here and talk. So yeah, and I found myself in hospital. I was in there for 16 days. I'm very proud of that. They reckon it's in the top 10 fastest recoveries in terms of them being discharged. And it was full on every single day. I remember, I think it might have been day 2, maybe day 3, the doctor came in and he was like, "What are you doing sat in bed?" And I was like, "Well, I've just had a double lung transplant, so I'm chilling, if that's okay." He was a bit like, "Nah." He was like, "Don't make..." They were harsh, and they had to be, because, you know, there are so many people out there waiting for this. And on this occasion, it was you that got the call. But undoubtedly, there could have been other people. And so he kind of was like, probably, I can't remember how he phrased it, but he was like, "Look, don't make me regret this, giving these to you." And after that, full on, just worked hard every day. I was out, wasn't sat in bed, at least sat in a chair, because there's a massive difference there. I do apologise for this. And so, I didn't think about this bit, did I? Are you fanning yourself because I'm opening up my trousers, or is it because it's hot? I've got a girlfriend, do you know? Yeah. Yeah, you know I'm talking to you. I hope that isn't someone I'm related to. I can't... How much you see your face? It isn't, is it? No, excellent. I still have a girlfriend. Right, so I'm in a loving, committed relationship, and it's great. So, yeah. Oh, I know. I need to put my shoes on as well. God, I didn't think about this, did I? So I got discharged within 16 days, and then I was sort of straight at it, really. And like before, it was straight back to it. Like I said, the whole reason I wanted a transplant was to get back to performing. And so I found myself taking part in a series on BBC One called This Is My Song, which was about people who record a song in a music studio for a special reason. There were people there who wanted to record a song for their dad, and somebody who had a stutter but didn't have a stutter when they sang, so that's why they recorded one. And mine was the first time I sang with my new lung. So this happened sort of, I think it was like 3 months we filmed it after my transplant. And then 6 months after, I ended up playing Buttons on this very stage here in Cinderella. But just before that, I met someone who I have already mentioned because, well, there's a lady in the 8th row trying to flirt with me. And that's my wonderful girlfriend here, who is looking mighty fine, might I say. Yeah, we met, and genuinely, we'd known each other for years, but we genuinely went for a drink. And I can't tell the story that I usually tell because apparently it's wrong. It's not a lie. It's entirely true. She asked me out and then got me very drunk, okay? That's the truth. And then a few months later, we actually got asked to take part in a charity concert for Macmillan at the Barrington, just down the road in Ferndown. And we sang this song. So when it came to choosing the set list, I decided this would be a really nice song for us to sing. So please welcome to the stage Miss Chloe Louisa Hughes.
Something, girl. Are you happy in this fine world? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? I'm falling. And in the good times I find myself for a change, and in the bad times I feel myself.
Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore. I'm falling. In all the bad times, I feel myself longing for change. In all the good times, I feel myself. I'm up the deep end, watching side divers. I'll never leave the ground. Crash to the surface where they can't hurt us. We're far from the shallow now. In the shallow. In the shallow. In the shallow. We're far from the shallow now. I'm up the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never make the ground. Crash to the surface where they can't hurt us. We're far from the shallow now. In the shallow. In the shallow. In the shallow. We're far from the shallow now.
It's Chloe Louisa Hughes. I wish you did that at home. We are literally, I mean, the first half I had to talk about 23 years, and this half we're only talking about 3. And I've done a lot in those 3 years, but you'd be glad to know it should take as long. So, after playing Buttons and doing this charity gig, I then also managed to land the role of Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. Which did so many things for me. It got me signed by an agent who was here this evening, come all the way from London. So thank you, Damien, and he's amazing. He came down and watched me in it. I also managed to go on tour with a show called Believe the Cher Songbook, and as well as that, there were loads of like news articles and stuff. And it was really, really incredible. But I kind of wanted to take this moment to sort of thank everybody for their support, everybody in this room, everybody that couldn't come, everybody that hopefully, if we manage to get a decent filming, will be watching at home. I stand up here and I think, this is my story, but it isn't without the help and the support of everybody around me. And so I'm very grateful because, I think people might look at anybody's story and feel like they've done it by themselves or they're amazing, but I wouldn't have been able to achieve anything that I'd achieved without the support of people, and no more so than during JCS. I auditioned for it 6 months after my transplant, and I got the job, and I remember my mother directed it, so I don't feel when she directs shows that I can talk to her about it, because everybody will be like, well, you got pup because his mum's directing it, which may be true. I do cook all her meals, and she would be out on the curb if she didn't give me the parts. We will be talking about Kinky Boots later, Mum, all right, because I didn't get the lead in that, so. But, so what I did was I asked her friend Jane, who had worked on the production before, and Jane comes around, she sits on the sofa and she goes, so, what part are you going for? And I said, well, I was going to go for Judas. And she said, did you not think like Peter might be a bit better? And I'm like, Peter? Well, he's only got one song. What do you think I am? But I remember on opening night, she came up to me and
she sort of had that look in her eye like, I'm glad you didn't listen to me because you're doing a stellar job. But as well as the support from the production team, I had amazing support from the cast, and no more so than my two leading co-stars, I think you would call them, and that is Kirsty Rogers, who unfortunately isn't here this evening. She is elsewhere, and Matthew Dean Treyer, who played Jesus, and he is here this evening. So I'm going to welcome to the stage. I'll come grab my chair. I'm not very organised here, am I? 1 second. So me and Matt are going to sing a song here. There was plenty of songs that we could have chosen, but we chose this one because throughout my entire time in hospital, 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out, the first thing I would do when I got in is I would plug in my little hard drive, which had all my films and TV shows on and stuff, and I would put Friends on, and we'd start series 1, episode 1, and it would just play 24/7 from beginning to end. And so when it came to deciding a song for us to sing, there was really no other song that we could have chosen. So please welcome to the stage Mr. Matthew Dean Treyer.
So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. But when it hasn't been your day, your month, your week, or even your year, but I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to pour, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before, I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me too. You're still in bed at 10, work began at 8. You burned your breakfast so far, things are going great. Your mother told you there'd be days like this, but what she didn't tell you is when the world has brought you down for your knees. Well, I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to pour, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before, I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me too. No one could ever know me, no one could ever see me. Seems you're the only one who knows what it's like to be me. Someone to face the days with, send it through all the best with. Someone I'll always laugh with, even at my worst I'm best with you. I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to pour, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before, I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me too. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matthew Dean Treyer. I have to say, Matt's honestly an incredible guy, and sometimes with shows, you do them and you make friends with the cast and you have the best time, and then the show's over and you go on and you never really speak to them again. But Matt and Kirsty, they're two people that I've stayed in touch with and stayed really good friends with, and I think that their support during the show represents the support that I've received from everybody throughout my entire life. So this is my thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for your support. So, like I said, off the back of JCS, I actually secured a job going on tour in a Cher tribute show. It's called Believe the Cher Songbook, and we did a couple of weeks ago, and it was absolutely amazing, and it's great to be back with that show. And in it, I play Sonny Bono, so I wear another silly wig and moustache. And I also play Meatloaf, but without the meat, because... but the lady who plays Cher is incredible, and I was like, shall I invite her, shall I not invite her, because she'll just show me up, and it's all about me, and... But then I just thought, wow, I've got time for one more song, so I might as well ask her to come along. So, she's absolutely amazing, and she is, for once, going to be singing this song not dressed as Cher, but dressed as her lovely self. So please welcome Miss Charlotte Elizabeth Layton. I got my buddies in a big, got a treat money to cry. You got me begging our buddies, come out and throw it like a bone. Man, it is a little rock and roll and real alone. Baby, baby, rock and roll and groove. They don't even feel that I'm parents to you. Rock and roll and groove, rock and roll and groove. You know that you and I, we know better things to do. I don't know who you are, what you do. We're going down out around.
Since I can't remember, I've been hanging around this joint. Well, I've been trying to look away, but now you finally get the point. I don't have to know your name, and I won't tell you what to do, but a ghost she doesn't live, I only rock and roll and groove. Baby, 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 rock and roll and groove, rock and roll and groove.
They don't even know when I'm here.
Rock and roll and groove, rock and roll and groove.
Know that you and I, we got better things to do.
I don't know who you are or what you do. We're going down on the road.
I don't know where to feel about you, baby,
but you're everything I'm dreaming of. I don't know who you are, but you're the real dead ringer for love. The real dead ringer for love. You got a lot of love to come out of me, oh.
You got the kind of listen to all the dream.
You got the kind of mind that does us a thing. Since I'm feeling kind of lonely, my defenses are low. Why don't we give it a shot, get it ready to go? I'm looking for anonymous and fleeting satisfaction. I wanna tell my daddy I've been missing in action. Since I can't remember, I've been hanging around this joint. Well, my daddy never noticed, never finally got the point.
Baby, nobody's come out and throw it out the bone. The man it is another rock and roll and groove alone.
Baby, 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 rock and roll and groove, rock and roll and groove.
They don't even feel it, I can feel it.
Rock and roll and groove,
chose a real dead ringer for love. A real dead ringer for love. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Charlotte Elizabeth Layton. Dead ringer for love. Dead ringer. 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 Yeah.
I have to say. Ooh, nice, we're doing quite well here. So yeah, that was it really. Like, I went off on tour with that, and it was really like started my career. Thanks to Damien, I got in the room for loads of amazing jobs, which include cruises, and I got seen for Wicked in the West End, and all this sort of stuff. It was absolutely amazing, and it was everything that I wanted it to be, really. And as I said at the beginning, I originally wanted this show to be my 1-year transplant anniversary, but to be honest with you, I'm glad that it wasn't, because I hate it. I mean, I made lots of jokes tonight, and I am very arrogant, really, but I like to pretend that I'm not, and but I do feel arrogant saying this sort of stuff, but my vocals and what I can do now, I honestly I couldn't do anything like that before. I would always say, you know, I was, like a Buttons, go on, be funny, and sing a random pop song for a couple of bits. But now I'm singing rock with Cher, and I'm absolutely loving it. And so I think at this moment it's a really appropriate moment to just take a minute to thank my donor and their family, and genuinely the gift that I think. Thank you very much for joining in that. There were loads of amazing things that I did after my transplant that I've spoken about, and then COVID happened, which was great. I mean, I was like just starting to get things happening, and March 2020 I went into isolation, and so I fell very much back into that mentality of being in hospital, being in isolation, and not really doing much. I found myself going back to gaming. I used to game quite a bit when I was in hospital, and I started doing that a lot again, and I was isolating from the rest of the world, like most people, but I was also, for the beginning part, isolating from my mum within my own house. My girlfriend had to go back home because she still was working at school, so she was a key worker, and so it was very isolating, and it was very reminiscent of time that I spent in hospital and being sort of isolated from the world. But like all things, I tried my best to make sure that it didn't stop me from doing some cool things. And so I did a charity live stream. I gamed for 24 hours and raised over £1,000 for the CF Trust, which was absolutely amazing. I started streaming and making videos and stuff like that. But one of the coolest things that I felt I did was a duet with a really cool person, actually. I probably should have given you some form of warning, Mr. Soundman, that I was going to be playing that video. I do apologise. Okay, so I did a really cool duet with a really cool person.
Hiya, Matt. You
ready?
Oh, good. How are you?
Right. Yes, I'm ready.
Good. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Brilliant, well, let's give it a go then.
Baked potato changed my life.
Baked potato showed me the way.
If you want to know what is wrong from right,
You must listen to what potatoes say.
Wash your hands and stay indoors.
Thank you, baked potato.
Only visit grocery stores.
Thank you, baked potato. And if you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say.
Keep your distance, make some space.
Thank you, baked potato.
Remember not to touch your face.
Thank you, baked potato. And if you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say. P-A-K-E-D-P-O-T-A-T-O. Baked potato.
that was very nice.
Oh, thank you, Matt. You were brilliant.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, that I did that, and what we did was we recreated the track from everyday household objects with the idea that it would raise awareness of organ donation, essentially the recycling theme. Yeah, so I did some cool things in lockdown, but one of the coolest things that I got to do was spend a lot of time with my mum, which she probably didn't enjoy as much as I did, no, we did well. I think if I'd been with any other of my parents, it might have been a lot harder. I'm joking. He is great, but he deserves it, so. But no, what? Yeah, and we got in a system and some things, and actually, I remember that she, a few years ago, she said, she pointed out how proud of me she was for my sort of constant desire to be doing stuff. And she took that opportunity to learn a new career, which she did. She started a course, and she's now a very, very successful celebrant. I'm going to be retiring soon, I hope, with how well she's doing. Yeah, I really loved looking at what she was doing there and seeing some of me in her and her in me. And anybody that knows her knows that she's a wonderful, wonderful person. And so, yeah, this one is for her. Proud of your boy, I'll make you proud of your boy. Believe me, bad as I've been, Ma, you're in for a pleasant surprise. I've wasted time, I've wasted me. So say I'm slow for my age, a late bloomer, okay, I agree. That I've been one rotten kid. Some pride and some joy, but I'll get over these lousy, screwing up, messing up times. You'll see, Ma, now comes the better part. Someone's gonna make good cross this stupid heart. Make good and finally make you proud of your boy. Well, tell me that I've been a louse and a loafer. You won't get a fight here, no man. Say I'm a gold brick, a goof off no good, but that couldn't be all that I am. Water flows under the bridge, let it pass, let it go. Well, there's no good reason that you should believe me, not yet. And I know that someday and soon I'll make you proud of your boy. So don't look back, the boy that you knew isn't there anymore. You'll see, are those dreams that you had for me? I'll make sure that they happen, I guarantee. proud of your boy. Thank you. Something in my throat. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of up to date now, to be honest with you. Like I said, we were in isolation, which meant the first day, which was the 21st of June for this show, got postponed. And then it got postponed again, and like my wonderful girlfriend said in the pre-show announcement, we put this together in a few days, mainly because I just wasn't really convinced it was going to happen. And I'm very unorganised. But I really hope that you have enjoyed what you've seen this evening. And I always say I'm not here to convince anybody to sign the register. I'm here to show what I can do now, and try and get across how I was before, and hope that you guys just make that decision yourself. So I know I've wasted 2 hours of your time this evening, but if you could take 2 more minutes to have that conversation on the journey home, that this is something that you want or you don't want, it's your body, it's your choice, then that could save somebody's life like myself. You know, there are people out there, not necessarily performance teachers, maybe students, maybe policemen, I don't know, but they've had their lives saved by transplant, and there are plenty more out there waiting just to get back to doing what they love, and I'm very fortunate that I've been able to do that this evening. I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and we are going to leave you on one song, which is actually the song I did sing in JCS, not the one that Matt sang. I was like, sending him a little message, do you mind if I sing Gethsemane at the end of Act 1? And he was like, that's fine. So, yes, we are going to slowly welcome back my incredible cast and crew doing this song. But this is Superstar from Jesus Christ Superstar. I really hope you all have a safe journey home. Thank you so much for coming. My backing vocalists, my incredible band, and of course, me, Malcolm. Here we go! Every time I look at you, I don't understand why you let the things you did get so out of hand. You'd have managed better if you had a plan. Why the chills that your back was down in such a strange land? If you'd come today, you could have preached a whole new song. Israel in for BC and no mass communication. Don't you get me wrong. 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 I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. There are, of course, 4 people that have been much nicer to look at this evening than myself. They're very talented too. So, please welcome back to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. They're absolutely ridiculously talented, absolutely ridiculously gorgeous, the most amazing people, and they've been so great all week. They learned the entire show in 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, my incredible backing dancers. Here we go. Grace, Amy, Kaylee, and of course Chloe. Tell me what you think about your friends at the time. Now who do you think was at themselves a pick of the crowd? Who do I see where it's at? It's here where you are. You're more out and mobile into the world than just me up. Did you mean like that? Sound of the straight door. Did you know your messy death would be a record breaker? Don't you get me wrong? 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 I wanna know. I wanna know. See you all clapping your hands, let's go! down, Jesus. Hallelujah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jesus, Jesus, I only want to know. Are you what they say? Thank you so much. And of course, my incredible band. Amazing work. Guys, we really hope you've enjoyed it. And of course, the final applause for the people up top. Thank you so much. A massive thank you to Zach on lights, Rupert on sound, Scott and Toby that have been here all day from the venue to help us set up, Cameron who was here this morning, my dad who was here all this morning, and thank you so much to all of you for coming. Would you like one more? I was hoping you'd say no because I don't actually know the words to this one. Are you ready? Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost. Well, if that's love, comes and much too higher cost. I'd sooner try defying gravity, kissing me goodbye and defying gravity. You won't break me down. I'm through accepting the limits, 'cause someone says they're so. There's things I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost, but if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost. I'd sooner try defying gravity, kiss me goodbye, defying gravity. You won't bring me down. You won't bring me down. Unlimited. My future is unlimited. And I had a vision, almost like a prophecy. I know it sounds truly crazy, and yet the vision's hazy, but I can feel it, I can see it. Someday I'll be so yeah. So if you can't find me, look to the western sky, 'cause someone told me everyone deserves a chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. I'd sooner try defying gravity, kissing me goodbye, defying gravity. You won't bring me down. You won't bring me down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please put your hands together for White Table, cast, crew. Thank you for coming. I hope you all had a safe journey home. It was greatly appreciated. Whoa! Thank you, everyone. Safe journeys, and we'll see you all soon.